Greetings, barbecue family. Welcome to another live episode of the Backyard SmokeMaster Barbecue Podcast. I'm your host, Kenyatta Robinson. Happy Friday. Always appreciate you for taking some time out on your Friday to hang out with me and hang out with the community as we talk about one of our favorite pastimes, barbecue. And let's get into it. Let me say hello right off the bat to Surfing on Mars. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Hope you don't be a stranger to the podcast. We got Correctional Officer for Lockdown tuning in. And as always, I always invite you to chime in with your comments, whether it's about the topic at hand or anything related to barbecue. Your comments are always welcome, and they are the engine that drives the show. So, spring is right around the corner, and I'm getting a little bit of a technical error on my end here. So hopefully you guys can still see and hear me. It was something I'd never seen before. But anyway, I think I'm still live. Let me know if I'm not, or if you notice any issue. But anyway, spring is just around the corner. We got the time change coming up, I believe, on March the 9th. And to me, that always kind of signifies like an unofficial start to spring, which also means better weather, longer days, which also presents more opportunities for us to get outside and enjoy our grills and smokers. So today I thought for tonight's topic, now is about as good as a time as any to make sure that your grills and smokers are ready. You got to get them ready for the spring, especially if you're in some of the cold weather parts of the country and maybe you haven't been grilling and smoking as much as you'd like to. And your grills may have been sitting around for a while. It's time to spruce them up and get them ready to go. So we're going to go over some things to help you get your grills and smokers ready for the spring. And as we get into it and go over some things, and these are just some suggestions to hopefully get your juices flowing, jump into the comments if you have some suggestions, some ideas. I know we've got some comments coming in already. So before we dive too far into it, let me just do a quick check here on some of the comments. So let's see what we got going on in the chat. All right. Surfing on Mars said, as a resident of Southern California, it's always grilling season, but I'm always up for a good educational vid from the maestro. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that, Surfing on Mars. And I concur. I'm up in the Bay Area. The weather is usually pretty good. It gets a little bit cold sometimes, but for the most part, weather is usually not an impediment for me to get outside with the grill and the smoker. All right, correctional officer for lockdown, as always, appreciating the music. Enjoying a plate of crab legs his wife has prepared. That means a shopping spree is planned for her. All right. Hold on. Let me try making a little bit of an adjustment on the fly, even though it's not quite working out the way I wanted it. Hold on. Bear with me. All right, I probably should have just left that alone. All right. I will try to fix this a little bit later, trying to get my comments to show up a little better. Okay, but Surfing on Mars confirmed that I'm coming through loud and clear. And I think that also means that the picture is also fine. So I do appreciate you guys for confirming all of that. All right. Can't wait until I have like an episode where I don't have any like technical issues. But neither here nor there. Okay, so back to the topic at hand. These are reasons why you need to make sure that your grills and smokers are getting cleaned up and ready to go. Yeah, why regular maintenance of your grill is a must for better barbecue. So, I've got three main reasons right off the top. One of them is obviously you want to remove gunk and prevent off flavors. I mean, you may have some leftover, gunk, residue, whatnot inside of your smoker, and you definitely don't want that once you expose your meat, whatever you're cooking. You don't want the influence of some old leftover stuff, crap inside of your grill or smoker to impart any kind of a bad taste, bad flavor. So over the winter time, things can happen, grease, ash, again, the food residue build up on your grill grates. All of those things can happen. Definitely don't want to, again, have that influence your cooks. Also, keeping and maintaining a clean grill also helps to ensure proper heat and smoke control. It also can influence the quality of the smoke as well. We all want that clean blue smoke, right? That real thin smoke. If you've got some leftover stuff inside of your grill or smoker, that makes it all the more likely that you will end up with a dirty smoke imparting some bad smoke flavor onto your food. Obviously, we don't want that. And then also maintaining your grill or smoker on a regular basis will actually help sustain your grill over time. It will help, the overall life of your grill. I mean, these are investments for us, right? And we want them to last and be in good working order for as long as possible. And it's much easier to keep your grill maintained if you do it on a regular basis, or at least, do it again before the so-called unofficial barbecue season begins. So again, I think this is good timing in order to do that. Okay. Sorry, every time I make a transition, I keep getting a little bit of these error messages popping up on my end that's throwing me off. So don't mind me. All right, Bruce says, I enjoy getting my grills ready for the season. It gives me a vision for when I'm going to add to my arsenal. Yeah, I know that, Bruce. I know you have been looking at quite a few different grills and smokers, and you're looking to add, some more to what you already have. And yeah, I think getting out there, doing maintenance is kind of like a good way to take order, kind of like take inventory of what you've already got. And then, of course, that can spark some ideas for what you might want to get into next time. Okay, so here are some ideas on how to revive that grill that's been sitting around. So some of the obvious things are you want to remove any ash, grease, and like I said, any gunk that may have accumulated in your grill over time. Scrub your grates, heat deflectors, and vents. Get those clean. Especially, pay close attention to the vents. I think a lot of people kind of ignore, the vents, but, your smoke is going to be, coming into your oxygen, coming into your smoker through the intake, exiting through the exhaust vents. So you want to make sure that you keep your vents pretty clean as well. Obviously, you also want to check your smokers, your grills for rust, mold, and any wear. Maybe the gasket might start to be coming a little loose. You know, you might need to do some minor repairs there. You know, and just making sure that everything looks in pretty good order. So I'm going to look over here at my notes because I do have some notes depending on like what type of grill or smoker you have. So we're going to talk about the revive, you know, some of the main steps for reviving if you have like a pellet grill, charcoal grill, gas grill, offset smoker. So one of the main items that they all pretty much have in common in terms of having a tool would be a good grill brush. And very important, make sure the grill brush is not the type that has the, oh my goodness, what do you call it? The, you know, the little, you don't want the steel, you know, those bristles, you know, on your brush, that type, you know, because they can break off. That can be very dangerous and harmful. You know, if a broken bristle ends up in your food. So we definitely want to make sure whatever type of grill brush that you have, it needs to be bristle free. Ideally, you want something that is, you know, it should be made more or less from like stainless steel wool. You know, we're talking about those types of brushes, not the kind with the bristles. That's a good tool to have, pretty universal no matter what type of grill or smoker that you have. When it comes to pellet grills, some good tools to have would be like a shop vac. So those are good for cleaning out like the little fine ash that can accumulate inside of your pellet grill. I like to get in there and you know, vacuum out. You know, you take out all the grill grates, take out the heat deflector, get into that cooking chamber, vacuum out the inside of the chamber, as well as empty out and vacuum out the fire pot as well. So you don't want to let all those small ashes build up over time. Another good tool to have is a plastic putty knife or ash scraper. So those can help you scrape off built up ash that may have accumulated. Also can help you get rid of the grease that has accumulated inside of your pellet smoker. And a plastic one, you know, when you run it against the metal inside of your smoker, it's not going to damage the inside, you know, as opposed to having like a metal putty knife. So go for the plastic. A damp microfiber cloth is good to help wipe down grease spots, both on the inside and the outside of the lid. And then a mild degreaser or vinegar solution is good as well, safe for cleaning grease from the grates and the dip tray. And let me see what we got in terms of you guys, what you guys are thinking in terms of some good tools to have. Let's see, let's say hello to Bruce. Thank you for tuning in, Bruce. Good to see you. Correctional officer says, I liken it to getting my backyard ready too. I also enjoy making sure my grilling area is in order. Right? And then Surfing on Mars says, speaking of new acquisitions, I was thinking of I might be saying this wrong, a Kevery charcoal oven. Saw one in Houston over Thanksgiving. Thought it would be a great addition. Okay, so I'm not familiar with that. But that's what I love about outdoor cooking. There's just so many exciting options and things available for us to choose from. Bruce concurs with the shop vac. Surfing on Mars says, if using a shop vac for grills, yes, highly recommend a filter bag. Works great to keep the ash from entering the vac, then spewing out the exhaust. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, you definitely would do well to have a filter bag. Also, um, I like to look for shop vacs or little vacuum cleaners that are specifically made to handle ash. Because I do think that some of the your traditional standard shop vacs sometimes they kind of struggle and wear out when you're utilizing them to get ash. And then another important thing, obviously, is you want to make sure that your ash has cooled off. You don't want to start, you know, um, vacuuming hot ash. So definitely don't do that. Correctional officer asked, "Do you use degreaser agents?" Um, I don't typically use them, although I have used them. I guess I just haven't really stuck to that. I've used them. At one time, I was actually using a pressure washer for my stick burner to clean out the inside of my stick burner. I've gotten away from that. Um, so at this time, I don't really have a specific recommendation with regard to a degreaser agent. So you guys in the comments, let me know if you guys do that and if you have any recommendations. And yeah, Bruce says, I have a nice pressure washer and water faucets on one of the sides of my home. Has a hot cold water valve. Well, that's cool. That's outstanding to have that. You see, you've pretty much kind of got like the main tools available. Like if you really wanted to expand and do kind of like an outdoor kitchen, because you've already got like a hot and cold water valve. That's a nice bonus to have. And Bruce also says outdoor ovens are awesome and are seeming to gain in popularity. Absolutely. All right, let me jump back into this. So we talked about some tools for pellet grills. Now on the charcoal grill side, again, we talked about having a good grill brush that doesn't have the steel, the bristles that can break off. A good thing to have is a ash shovel and a bucket. So you can use that to help scoop out old charcoal and ash from the bottom. Again, a putty knife is good to have. Most of your charcoal grills, you can just use dish soap and hot water on your grates and at the bottom of the grill to break down grease. And then also good to have paper towels. And a trick that you can do with your paper towels is use them, lightly oil the paper towels, and then use them on your grill grates after you've given, the grates a good clean. Run a paper towel with some light oil on them to help prevent rust. Now for gas grills, let's see again. Have a good grill brush. Pipe cleaners or wire brushes are good. That helps to clean those burner holes for proper gas flow. So that's very important. Again, a good grate scraper like a plastic putty knife, shop vac, damp paper towels, and one of the recommendations in my notes here for gas grills is a mild degreaser or vinegar spray that helps break down the grease buildup inside the lid and around the burners. And then when we get to offset smokers, so many of the same tools are pretty much universal across the board. With an offset smoker, though, having a good chimney brush is good to help clear out the soot buildup inside of the chimney, so that will promote better airflow. Again, a good wire brush or scraper, ash shovel and bucket, spray bottle with vinegar and water. I like to use, what is it called? White vinegar. I like to use white vinegar. I don't even bother mixing it with water. I use the white vinegar on exterior of my offset smoker, and I try to do that every couple of months if I think about it, because that helps, keep that offset smoker looking as nice as possible, especially since I don't cover mine. And then also another tip for your grill grates, use a high temperature cooking oil spray. That's also good inside of an offset smoker. Coat the interior. So very important if you do, wash it out with some kind of, dishwashing detergent, or if you do use like a degreaser inside of your offset smoker, use a high temperature cooking oil spray. I'm talking about like things like peanut oil, grapeseed oil, Pam, vegetable oil, the oils that have like a high smoke point, even lard is good as well. Use that to coat the interior of your offset smoker after cleaning it, and that will help to prevent rust. All right, let's get back into the comments here. Let's see. Okay, Surfing on Mars says, a great tool I recently got was one of those grill washers with a soft fiber end that you soak well. Then after the grill is really hot, you scrub with the wet end, and it's like steam cleaning. I have one of those things too. I still haven't used mine. But yeah, I think that's a great tool to have, because I love the ability to give it that steam cleaning effect inside. So I do need to actually crack mine open and actually give that one a shot. And then Bruce says, I keep a few plastic tubs with tops for my tools to be stored. All right, so I'm loving the comments, you guys, and definitely let me know. Jump into the comments, like, if you can only, well, what would you say is the most important tool that you have in terms of maintaining your grill or smoker? What's the most important, the most critical? If you can only have one item, what would that be? So let me know in the comments on that. Okay, let's see. All right, let's move on. So talked about this a little bit, seasoning and protecting your grill. So again, very important to, keep your grill seasoned. It's good for rust prevention, and it will promote better heat control. Again, we talked about some of the better oils to use. Again, you want to use oils that have a high smoke point. So like canola oil, grapeseed oil, flaxseed, peanut oil, those are all very good. So there are a couple of different ways that you can season your smoker. So for charcoal, gas, and offset smokers, and actually offset smokers, you can do it a couple of ways I'm going to talk about. But the first option is is the high heat baking method. Okay, and this is where you're going to get your grill after you've cleaned it. Then what you want to do again, coat the inside, with the high temperature oil. And then what you want to do is you're going to heat your grill up and get it up to 400 to 450 degrees, and then you're just going to let it go. You're going to let it burn for 1 to 2 hours. Let's see some recommendations here. So if you're using a charcoal grill, light a full chimney of charcoal and let it burn until those coals have ashed over. Then spread the coals and close the lid. If you've got a gas grill, set all the burners to high and close the lid. And then for offset smokers, build a fire in the firebox, bring the cooking chamber up to temperature, and then we're going to let it go. So for all three of these methods, once you've got your grills up around that 400 to 450 degree range, you're going to let it bake. Just keep the grill, let it go for 1 to 2 hours, and that will let the oil form a protective coating inside of your grill. And then you know, just let it cool off after that amount of time. And, you know, if you're really diligent about it, you can do it a second time. You can do it a second time. All right, let me get back into the comments. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, one tool, yikes. Maybe a great brush for the grill, because that's Surfing on Mars says that. And then correctional officer says, it's important for me to have strong lighting in my grill area because I plan to do more late night cooks. Okay. Yeah, you know, especially, you know, before the time change, I have definitely found myself most of my cooks tend to maybe start kind of late in the day, and then, you know, they end up, you know, taking me into the night. So yeah, having some good, strong lighting is good. It's kind of funny. I get all types of kind of like ancillary products, you know, coming to me in my social media feeds, especially like Facebook. I can't remember the name of it, but of late I've been getting this in my feed. I've been getting these promotions for, it's like a kind of like an outdoor lantern, like a camping lantern, but it sits on top of like a kind of like a tripod, and it's, you know, being pitched to people who like to barbecue. And I know there's probably a few different, you know, companies that make things like that. But it did look intriguing to me. It wasn't super expensive. And then with it being on a tripod, makes it really portable. And then it also obviously allows you to adjust the height. And that can be a big benefit, you know, if you need that to help while you're cooking, you can adjust it to a good height. Surfing on Mars says to Bruce, lighting is great for extending the hours of your cook. Yeah, absolutely, completely agree. So that's a good suggestion, good point, and one that is often overlooked. And yeah, and I would say, you know, sometimes some of these grill, you know, manufacturers, like I have one of these things. It's like a little small, a really small light that attached. Like I have one for my Weber Summit Kamado that attached to the handle, you know, for lowering and raising the door to my cooking chamber. But man, that little light, like it looks cool and everything, but that little thing does not put out anywhere near enough light to be helpful. So yeah, I'm definitely using better lights. You know, since I do also make YouTube videos, kind of funny though, I have one of those ring lights that you see a lot of these young folks using. And for me, the most used feature that I use my ring light for is I take it outside because it's on a tripod. I can adjust the height and I use it, you know, for my grilling and smoking. So absolutely concur with that. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about, if I get my bearings here. So the next thing is stock the essentials. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Actually, before we get there, I talked about the method for the high heat baking method, for charcoal, gas, and offset. But then another method, almost forgot this, the low and slow method for seasoning your barbecue. So let me go back there, getting ahead of myself. So the low and slow method is good for seasoning your pellet grills, and you can also use this method for offset smokers. In this case, we're talking about getting our grills between 225 to 275 degrees, and it's going to take a little bit longer. Just let it go for 2 to 3 hours. And then a third method that you can utilize, and this is good for any grill type, we're calling it the burn off and oil method. And this is mostly what you might do if you have a brand new grill or smoker, or if you're trying to do like a real deep cleaning. So here we're talking about getting your grill super hot. We're talking 500 degrees. This is good for burning off any factory coatings or old residue. So again, we're getting it really hot, and we're going to let the grill go at this temperature for about 30 minutes to 1 hour. So that would be the what we would do there. Okay, and actually, you know what? I think this might be the name of the product I was trying to think of. I couldn't remember the name of it, but yeah, Ryobi. At least that's how I'm pronouncing it. Surfing on Mars says that they make a great outdoor light on a tripod with exchangeable, rechargeable batteries. So yeah, that's exactly the type of light that I've been getting in my feed. And I think that's something worth, taking a look at, because again, it just looks really, really easy, portable, convenient, not too expensive. And the fact that it's on a tripod, you can adjust the height. And again, like I said, it's really easy to move that around. And then having the rechargeable batteries is always a good thing too, because then you're not tethered, you're not required to be plugged into an outlet. And that also enhances the portability. Now, Bruce says, my issue is that I am surrounded by a forest preserve. Opossums and other critters will surely smell the meat, but are not keen to approach the heat. They definitely will be observing the cook. And that's kind of a whole nother topic, conversation, right? Obviously, we're outside, and we're out there with, everything else is outside. Like you said, critters and rodents and everything else, out there. So I don't really have any good advice to prevent that, other than, again, trying not to let, old leftover food and things like that accumulate. So actually, I do think maybe that's the key, or one of the keys, again, with proper maintenance and keeping the inside of your grills clean, not letting grease build up, getting rid of the gunk and the old food residue will hopefully prevent, unwelcomed guests that are also outside. All right, let's see. Bruce says, I'm definitely going to add a Weber kettle to my arsenal. How high a heat would you suggest for my initial seasoning burn off? Yeah, I think with a kettle, just like how we talked about, I don't know that you have to get it rip roaring hot, like up to 500 degrees, but I would say, 450. I think 450 for about an hour. That should be sufficient, to do your initial burn off on a Weber kettle. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about making sure that you've got all the necessary essentials, that you need once you've got your grill, your smoker cleaned up and ready to go. So good essentials, and these are kind of obvious, but take the time and stock them up. So probably the most obvious is you got to make sure you've got fuel. So depending on what you're cooking with, if you got a pellet grill, make sure you've got good stock up of pellets. If you're cooking with a charcoal cooker, get out and get yourself some good briquettes, or maybe get lump charcoal. I was actually looking on my Instagram feed not too long ago, and friend of the podcast, Q Belly's Barbecue, mentioned that Walmart now carries B&B, and B&B is an outstanding charcoal company. Typically, I would only see B&B at like Ace Hardware, but that's a big win. If you're able to get B&B at Walmart, so you might want to check that out. So just some alternatives. I know we can always find Kingsford, but there are some, we do have some alternatives, some other things to choose from. And I've become a really big fan of B&B of late. So again, make sure you've got enough charcoal, because what you don't want is you're all fired up, you're ready to go, ready to cook, and you get out there and you don't have enough fuel. I mean, that's an instant showstopper. Also, stock up on your wood chunks. That's part of the fun in barbecue, is being able to smoke. And wood chunks are pretty easy to obtain, and you can get your different flavors: pecan, hickory, cherry, apple, so on and so forth. And then also, again, I think I already said, make sure you've got your stock up of pellets, and kind of the same thing. You can get different types of pellets. I'm actually working on a new video right now where I'm taking a look at Royal Oak. So they are now selling, I don't know, maybe they've been selling this for a while, but it's kind of new to me. They are now selling pellets that are 100% made from charcoal. So that's an interesting twist. So I also would love to know if any of you guys in the comments, have you guys tried it? And if so, what do you think? What do you think of the Royal Oak 100% pellet made from charcoal? And then another one that I always recommend is Smoking Pecans pellets. Their pellets are 100% made from the pecan shell. And if that's something that you're interested in, I do have an affiliate link where you can save 10% off of your first order. If you go to smokingpecan.com and just enter the code Backyard SmokeMaster, and that will get you 10% off of your first order of smoking pecans. And I can say from my own experience that smoking pecans do give off a very good, solid smoke flavor that outdoes the smoke flavor that I've gotten from the other, more traditional pellets that you typically see at the hardware store. So that's one that I can wholeheartedly recommend. So stock up on your fuel, and then also make sure you've got the right tools by your side. Maybe you were kind of winging it last year. Well, now that we're about to enter spring, enter the next barbecue season, get out there and get some of these key tools. Make sure that you've got thermometers at hand. Now there's some excellent wireless thermometers available. But I always recommend that you have a good instant read thermometer. They're not very expensive. You get them for $15 or less, on Amazon, or you can spring a little bit more and get some. But there's a lot of very well-made instant read thermometers out there that you can get. Definitely need to have that in your arsenal. Make sure you've got knives. Knives are absolutely essential for your cooking prep. And then obviously after you've finished your cook, having good sharp knives is key, and sometimes you might be overlooking that as a key tool. Also recommend that you have butcher paper. Butcher paper can be used in, many ways. You can use it as part of your prep to help keep your cleaning surface nice and clean, not too expensive. I also like to use disposable cutting boards. Those are good to have. And then obviously with butcher paper, can also help tenderize your meat during your cook. Use it to wrap that brisket, wrap those ribs, wrap that steak or chuck roast or whatever else that you might be smoking. Butcher paper, definitely good to have. And then sprayers as well. You want to spray, keep an eye on your meat, protect that bark, don't let it get too crispy. So sprayers can come in handy as well. And then some more tools. In addition to the fuels that we talked about, have some fire starters on hand as well. So there are lots of fire starters to choose from, not too expensive at all. And then we've been talking about cleaning supplies. So make sure that you've got cleaning supplies on hand as well. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. See what you guys are saying. Okay, Bruce says, I want to start using butcher paper this year. Definitely should do that. Back to the critters. Surfing on Mars says, I have worse than any critters surfing buddies who always want a free burger or chicken thigh. Well, I think that's a testament that you're doing, you're cooking some good food, and they know it. You've already got a rep, and you're out there, and it sounds like are you taking your equipment with you out to the beach? That's going to make you even more popular, I think, especially as it warms up and more people get out there. So kudos to you for that. Love seeing that. And then Surfing on Mars also says about B&B being a great charcoal. I have 6 boxes of Japanese Benkotan. Is that how you say that? Charcoal, which is the Ferrari of charcoals. Wow, okay, so now I haven't heard of that one. Okay, here's one. This is a good one too. Bruce says, having a nice boom box to listen to some nice music when you are relaxing with your cook. Yeah, that's a must-have. Definitely a must-have. And then Surfing on Mars says, what cordless or wireless thermometer do you use? I have had no luck with meter. All right. We've talked about this a few times, and I have been very steadfast. Meter would not be the wireless thermometer that I would recommend. I've had experience both with the original meter as well as with the second iteration of meter. And while there were some improvements, the connectivity still left a lot to be desired. So as of right now, February 28th, 2025, I would say the two that there are 2 brands that I would recommend. ThermaWorks RFX. They came out with a wireless thermometer, I want to say Q3, Q4 of last year. Probably Q3, maybe like September-ish, somewhere in there. But anyway, I highly recommend the RFX from ThermaWorks. The one knock that I have against it is that the wireless thermometer does not give you the ambient temperature inside of your cooking chamber. Instead, for that, they give you like a wired probe that you can use to monitor the temperature, the ambient temperature inside of your cooking chamber. So that would be my one knock. But I think that's probably the fact that the wireless thermometer does not give you the ambient temperature, I think is kind of helps them produce a very thin wireless thermometer that will give you the temperature readings, the internal temperature readings of your meat that you're cooking. It's a beautiful thermometer. Connectivity is outstanding, and I have not had any issues with it at all. And then the second recommendation would be Fireboard. Fireboard has developed an outstanding reputation for their wired thermometers, and maybe a month or so after ThermaWorks came out with the RFX, Fireboard came out with their wireless thermometer. For some reason, I can't, I'm kind of blanking on the actual product name. Let's see, it's, hold on. Let's go and take a look. Let's see. Okay. So let's go to fireboard.com. Let's see, they're talking about the Fireboard 2 drive. The Pulse, this is it right here. The Fireboard Pulse, that's what they call their wireless thermometer. So it goes for $149. So I also recommend this. I have both the Fireboard and the ThermaWorks. And actually, so the Fireboard, the only real difference is that their wireless thermometer does give you both the internal cooking temperature of your meat, but it also measures the ambient temperature. But I will say I tried to use it last night, and for the first time, it didn't connect. And I don't know, I didn't have time to try and troubleshoot and figure out why it wasn't connecting. I just feel like I probably need to reconnect it, go through those steps, but that was a little disappointing. So that was a first. But for the ThermaWorks, again, I have not had any connectivity issues to date at this point. And let's pull that one up. And there's the ThermaWorks RFX. So those would be the two. Those would be the two that I would recommend. And if you get the ThermaWorks, I do recommend that you get the kit, which includes this like a wireless transmitter that will help boost the signal. I can't remember, and I know if Jeff is watching, not sure if he is, refresh my memory if you can use the ThermaWorks RFX, the thermometer, without the gateway. They call it the gateway. Probably can, because it looks like they sell them all independent of each other. So in other words, you can get the wireless probe by itself for $89. You can get the gateway for $79, and you can get the whole kit, which includes the probe and the gateway, $349. And I think it gives you, does it give you 2 wireless probes? Okay, you can select. Actually, okay, let me redo this. So actually, if you get the kit with 1 probe, it's $159. If you get it with 2 probes, it's $239. 4 probes, $349. So you can kind of customize the kit. And the kit also comes with the wired ambient probe as well. So it gives you some options there. So I hope that helps answer your question. Let's see. And Bruce says, Yeah, great question about thermometers. You're at the right place. Kenyatta and Jeff can lead you to your answer. Yeah, and I know if Jeff is not watching, but Jeff is a frequent watcher and he has the ThermaWorks RFX. I have both. And yes, the Fireboard Pulse. And hey, good to see you, Noinks. Good to see you. Appreciate you. This is a great topic tonight. I'm glad I was able to make it. Well, I'm glad that you were able to make it as well. So again, appreciate all you guys for tuning in as always. So again, just to kind of recap again, so we were talking about the importance and why it's necessary to maintain your grills and smokers. And as we move into spring with better weather, now is a great time to get your grills and smokers into good working order. So now is the perfect time to do that. And again, consistently maintaining your grills and smokers, obviously it helps keep them in great tip-top shape. Having a clean grill also will lessen the impact, and it'll help your food taste the way it should taste. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And you don't want to have old food, old residue, old bad odors, things like that from having a not so well maintained grill or smoker influence the taste of your food. And then the last thing I'll say about that, and I didn't mention it earlier, so if you are going into a stretch where you're not going to be using your grill or smoker, put a cover on it. So, a cover can help. I think it can help to some extent keep some unwanted things from getting into your grill or smoker, especially, insects, small things like that. Can also help maintain and protect the exterior, of your grill or smoker. So I think that's also very, very important, right? All right, so let's take a moment and take a pause for the cause and tell you about today's sponsor, which is me. Today's sponsor of the Backyard SmokeMaster Barbecue podcast is Backyard SmokeMaster Barbecue. And if you are out there and you have a product that you would like to sponsor or that you would like me to talk about, I'm definitely all ears and open. So please reach out, email Kenyatta at backyardsmokemaster.com. And for those of you who are watching who are not yet members of the Backyard SmokeMaster Society, I have to ask you, what are you waiting for? You can see right here, we have a great barbecue community. If you join the society, it will be a chance for you to help us keep the conversation going. We also have live meetups where it's an opportunity for you not to just have to look and listen to me. You can turn your cameras on, show your beautiful face, and you can also show the fantastic thing that you're cooking as it's warming up. I'm fully looking forward to when we have some meetups and everyone is showing what's on their grill or smoker. So that's one of the fun things that we do inside of the Backyard SmokeMaster Society. And then, we can interact with each other a lot like how it works on Facebook, but we're not on Facebook. So you're not going to be getting dancing squirrels or anything silly like that into your news feed. It's strictly barbecue. We support each other. We share our barbecue stories, our lessons learned, and our successes. So we'd love to have you into the society. If you have not yet checked this out, go to backyardsmokemaster.com/society to learn all about it. Okay. And let me get back into the comments, see if we've got anything else that folks are saying in the comments. And if you have any other questions that we can tackle before we adjourn for the evening. All right. Correctional officer says hi to Noinks. Always good to see you. Absolutely. And Noink says he's got the ThermalWorks signal and billow system. Yeah, those are great as well. So those are, if you don't know, the signals is ThermalWorks' version of a wired temperature probe, and the billows is their fan. So it's like if used in conjunction with each other, the two of them basically gives you like a what do you call it? Automatic temperature control system that you can use with your smoker. So maybe you've got like a Weber kettle or a Kamado Joe Big Green Egg. You can set it up, and the billows will blow the oxygen into the firebox, and the signal will help do the work for you. Like if you say that you want your temperature to be 250 degrees, the signal in conjunction with the billows fan will then make adjustments in terms of the amount of oxygen that's blowing into your firebox to help you maintain your desired temperature inside of your charcoal-based grill. I've gotten the question, is an automatic temperature control system like this good for an offset smoker? While I do recommend it for a charcoal-based cooker, I don't recommend it for an offset smoker. Wood splits are going to cook the way they cook, or they're going to burn, I should say. They're going to burn the way they burn, kind of like a snowflake. Each one is different. Ultimately, whether you've got an automatic temperature control system or not, you're still going to have to feed new wood splits into that firebox as they burn down. So for that, those are some of the reasons why I don't necessarily recommend using that for an offset smoker. Okay, but I do think it is very good, again, on a charcoal-based cooker. And then obviously with things like a pellet smoker, you wouldn't need to have like a fan because it's already set up and built with the digital control system to make temperature changes for you with the electronics that come inside of your pellet smoker. All right, guys. So again, always appreciate you coming on, tuning in, hanging out with us, talking barbecue. Love having you guys. Always appreciate the feedback and support. So let me just give some thanks again to Surfing on Mars, Correctional Officer for Lockdown, Bruce, I should make the distinction because we've got Bruce, Correctional Officer for Lockdown, but then we also had Bruce Frazier as well. So thank you both. And then also Noinks. So I appreciate you all for jumping into the comments. Again, as I always say every week, your comments are the engine that drives the show. Okay, so again, the Backyard SmokeMaster podcast, generally we are on live every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. However, there will not be a show next Friday. So next Friday we're dark, but we will be back with another exciting episode, another exciting topic on March 14th. By then, we will have, sprung forward. So we will be in full-on, what I consider spring mode. The days will be longer. So hopefully by then, you will have gotten your grill or smoker prepared and ready to go. So I can't wait to hear more about what you guys are going to be cooking and smoking. So absolutely get out there, enjoy your grills and smokers, cook something. This is Kenyatta Robinson. Thank you again for tuning in to the Backyard SmokeMaster Barbecue Podcast. And I will see you all in 2 weeks, Friday, March the 14th. Take care and have a wonderful weekend.